Hello, welcome back to the Creative Differences podcast. My name is Dallas, and if horror movie directors still want to make superhero movies, I say let's do it because it's working out so far.
And I'm Demi, and I'm just happy that we can finally confirm to Colin that the Flash movie exists. Welcome to another episode of the Creative Differences podcast, aka Double D Movie Reviews, aka the Writers Room Reviews. I don't know, we're workshopping names. Your one-stop shop for movie reviews, Fancast Fridays, Throwback Thursdays, and a number of other pop culture related items. Today we will be reviewing Disney and Pixar's Elemental and The Flash.
Yes, it happened. It's a real movie. It exists. We can confirm. It's just us today. Colin would not support the episode because Elemental goes against his strictly segregational views, and Gabby, you never know when Gabby's going to show up. Today wasn't the day. So it's just us. But, you know, we're the ones you want for the DC movie. It's us.
So make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe.
Yes, please do, because I don't want to have to try to change time so that this is a successful podcast. I don't know how to do it, but it probably wouldn't end up going well. How
many, butterflies do we have to step on to make it work?
What do I got to do?
How many blades of grass do we have to pull?
I'll pull out all the grass.
All right, let's start with Elemental, which is directed by Peter Sohn, written by John Hoberg, Kat Lickle, and Brenda Shea. The story is by Peter Sohn and Brenda Shea, and it stars Leah Lewis, Mamadou Athie, Ronnie Del Carmen, and Sheila Omi. The IMDb synopsis is: the film journeys alongside an unlikely pair, Ember and Wade, in a city where fire, water, land, and air residents live together. The fiery young woman and the go-with-the-flow guy are about to discover something elemental, how much they actually have in common.
Cute.
It's so cute. The whole movie.
I can tell.
It's so cute. Oh my gosh. It's a very good movie. It's very sincere and it's very genuine, and it's probably in my top 10 Pixar movies.
Nice.
It's probably my favorite rom-com of the last few years as well.
Okay.
It's just, oh my gosh, I loved it. I said this to you guys when I got out of the movie. I was so much more engaged and invested than I thought I was going to be before I went into the movie.
Yeah.
It was so good. I liked the story. I found the characters to be very likable. The story follows a lot of typical rom-com tropes. You know what you're getting into when you go see a rom-com.
Yeah. But
it's very well done. And I could predict a number of the plot points because I've seen enough rom-coms in my life.
Fair. Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I was entirely invested, even if I did know, of course this is going to happen. Of course this is going to happen. But I was really happy when those moments did happen and when they paid off. And I was just like, oh, this is great. This is fun. Also, I think, so I really like romance. I don't watch a lot of romance and a lot of rom-coms. That's not my wheelhouse. I don't watch a lot of them consistently. I'm not like Gabby.
Right. She's rom-com girl.
Yeah, that's her thing. I love romance though, and I like when there is romance in my movies, especially in sci-fi. I love genre fiction, and I've been very disappointed with the lack of romance that there has been in recent decades. I don't know. I love having a good romantic B-plot. Mm-hmm. And this was yes, this is a rom-com, but it's fun. There are fire people and air people and water people, and
do something to make it not just a rom-com.
Yeah, and I liked that. I also was very surprised to find out that this is also an immigrant story and not just a rom-com. And I loved how the conflicts of that plot affect the romantic portion as well. And how heavily intertwined they are together. There's also a small story in there about how systemic infrastructure is often not created to be conducive for immigrants or marginalized communities and how they end up suffering for it.
True.
Which is wild. I was not expecting that in a Pixar movie. I say it's a small part, but it is interweaved into the story very nicely. Also, I'm a sucker for elemental stories, period. Anytime you divide the elements into just their basic forms, I'm just yeah, I like that. I'm there. So this is perfect for me. Leah Lewis is wonderful at Ember's bold and hot-headed demeanor. And Mamadou Athie is just so heartwarming as the very sensitive and soft Wade. I love Wade. I'm just I want a Wade.
Seems like a nice guy.
He's so sweet. He cries a lot though. I wouldn't be able to handle all that.
Yeah.
But Ember loves him all the same. But he's just so sweet, and he is consistently reminding Ember about how special she is, and I was I love this. This is great.
He's like a Sam Obisanya.
Is he
gonna get that kind of vibe?
He is. He's like sense. Sam. He's so sweet. Probably way more sensitive though. He cries a lot.
Goodness.
I love that though. They're so cute, and you're really rooting for them to make it work. You want I said it a couple of times after I came out of the movie. I was this movie had no right making me this invested in whether living flame and living water could fall in love and be together, but I was invested.
You do have a pattern of shipping Water Tribe and Fire Nation.
I do.
It's a thing for you.
Kurosami for the win.
Right.
Zutara for the win.
It's just your thing, fire and water.
Well, the thing is, this is such a good way of using those elements for like opposite attract stories, because their personalities are so different and their personalities align very much with their element. So yes, she's a fire girl. You anticipate she's gonna be hot-headed. She's
right, like the synopsis said, fiery, and he's go with the flow.
Yeah,
it's like it's punny, but it's also
like it's true. It's who they are as people. He is water, so yes, he goes with his emotions. He's very sensitive. He is accepting of those things about himself. Part of the love story is like, we're two very different people. How can we be together?
Yeah.
And it's like not just on a physical level, yes, we're fire and water, but like on a cultural level, because they do like fire and water. It's not just like there's species, it's like it's a cultural thing as well. Like I said, it's an immigrant story.
Right.
Ember's character is a first generation in Elemental City, so she was born there.
So where do the fire people
from fire nation, like a fire somewhere country.
Okay,
there's like a fire country. They talk about where her family came from. Her family talks about it, and about like their traditions and things like that. It is very much an immigrant story. Like, I was not anticipating that at all. Like down to even like the pressures that children of immigrants feel to live up to their parents' expectations and their dreams for them, and also trying to figure out what their dreams for themselves are. I was just like really impressed with how much that was actually part of the story.
Pixar is interesting.
Yes.
They're very good at stuff like that.
Ember suffers a whole microaggression, and I was just like, whoa.
See, I was wondering, that was one of my questions, is because when you see the trailer and, you know, you hear the elements don't mix, and it's like, okay, this can get very racy. And when I say racy, it means like borderline racist. I think of Zootopia. Yes. Because Zootopia is clearly, we're tackling racism, but with animals and in a way that kids can digest and understand. Is this like that?
A little bit. It tackles it from both angles. Like there's a story point that Ember tells about her childhood where she wasn't allowed to do something because she's a fire person. Okay. Because they were afraid that she would be dangerous. Right. From the opposite angle, her dad also doesn't like water people. They come up with really good like terms, like ways of.
Oh boy.
Well, because he's a fire person. Yeah. He doesn't like water people because, you know, a number of things, but mostly a few incidents that happened when they first moved to Elemental City. He has this thing that he says where he's like, they're trying to water us down.
Goodness.
And I was like, that's such a good like phrase to use. Right. It's just such a good way of paralleling our reality with, you know.
Yeah. And it probably makes it very relatable to a lot of people watching.
But also digestible for children.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can understand. If you're older, you can be like, oh, yep. Yeah. My dad is like that. If you're a kid, it's like, oh yeah, fire and water.
And like, like her dad calls them like water. Water is trying, and he calls them water just like as like one big group. Yeah. And his daughter's just like, they are water people. Right. He is a water person.
It's like someone says the blacks instead of black people.
That's kind of what it's like. And then like there, like I said, like she suffers a whole microaggression from Wade's uncle of all people.
Goodness.
Where he's just like, oh, you speak so well.
Oh, he does that. It's one of those.
And she's like, well, yeah, I grew up here my whole life speaking this language. So yes, of course I would speak very well.
Oh boy. See, yeah, they do these things, and it's just, in Zootopia, when Nick was a kid, he got hate crimed. Yeah. By a bunch of like, what are they? The prey animals? I think that's what they're called. And I was just like, Jesus. So yeah, when you're telling this kind of story, I'm like, ooh, this can go to some interesting places.
I think they did a really good job of it. And I think it probably helps because the director is the son of immigrant parents.
Right. Peter's son, right?
Yeah. So he is drawing from his own experiences with immigrant parents, I would assume. He actually wrote a letter the day that it came out. It's a very nice letter, and I highly recommend reading it. It's so sweet.
Fun fact about Peter's son. He voices Genki in Across the Spider-Verse.
I feel like I did know that.
Like, once I heard it, I was like, yes, I hear it. Yeah. Because he's, you know, that's his voice, but he only talks a little bit.
Yeah, Genki doesn't talk a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, I was like, oh, Peter's son.
That makes sense. The other characters in the movie are like great too, especially Ember's parents, because Ember's parents are really the supporting players here, more so than anybody else. The supporting characters don't really play too much of a part though, because the story is mostly about Ember and Wade and them finding the beauty in their differences as well as finding how they're similar together. I also really enjoyed the animation style. There's one shot in particular that I was like, I would love to have this as a poster. This is beautiful. The city looks incredible, and I think like one of my criticisms is that we don't really get to explore the city very much. Okay. It's kind of like it's there, it's a setting, but we don't really get to explore it.
Yeah.
It's so pretty. I would have loved to explore it. Lauv also has a wonderful song for this movie called Steal the Show. And I am in love with that song. And I fell in love with it the moment it started playing during the romantic montage. I was like, oh, this is so good. And immediately downloaded it to my phone as soon as the movie was over.
You said Lauv?
Lauv, L-A-U-V.
Is that a band?
It's a dude.
Okay.
Also, I figured out last night that I think the reason why I like it so much is it reminds me of his other song, I Like Me Better.
Okay.
I like me better when I'm with you.
That's Lauv?
Yeah, that's him.
Okay, I've heard that song.
Yeah. The song that he wrote for Elemental is very similar.
Got it.
I really like that song a lot.
Nice.
But yeah, overall, I think it's a really good movie. I don't think it's getting enough promotion, to be honest.
Interesting.
The CEO of Pixar pointed out that like they've been releasing a lot of their Pixar movies on streaming, so people are now kind of adjusted to just waiting until it hits streaming instead of going to see it in theaters. I highly recommend going to see it in theaters. It's great. It's so much fun. There was a little small right next to me through the movie, like so small that they couldn't, like, there was no point using the recliner. That's how small they were. They were so invested, and like the trailers were on, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle trailer came on, and they're like, looked at their dad, like, what's that? And I was just like, I'm like, yes, small child.
Nice.
I like kind of think that it might have been their first time going to the movie theater.
Oh wow, like super small child.
It's so 2 or 3.
Oh,
definitely
wow.
not 4.
Right.
Like definitely younger than that. They were small, and it was just so cute, and it kind of made the experience of watching the movie even better. Just to have like this really small child who was here for this kids movie.
Yeah.
Like just kind of really enjoying themselves.
It's always nice to see once I'm a big ass kid, so like I watch a lot of movies that are rated PG, animated, whatever.
Yeah.
But like seeing certain movies and then just seeing like the kids get excited over certain things.
Yeah.
Like when I saw Sonic 2, there were kids everywhere just cheering over like all the little things. I was like, this is wholesome. This is fun.
This is nice. Yeah. I like this. Like after the little Pixar short was over, before the movie starts, like his dad leaned over and was like, "Did you like it?" And the kid was like, "Yeah." And I was just like, this is so adorable. Oh my gosh. I hope my kids are as into movies as I am. That's the vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is great. Also, another thing I love is Ember's mom has this thing where she's a matchmaker. Okay. And so she can figure out whether or not you guys are a match made or not, if you guys are in love.
Right.
And the way that they do that storyline for Ember and Wade and deal with that, so good.
Nice.
So good. I love it. I love Wade and Ember so much. Those might be 2 of my new favorite Pixar characters because they're so great. And Leah Lewis and Mamadou Athie, like I said before, they're so great as those characters. So check out Elemental if you guys are into animation or rom-coms or anything like that. It's a really good movie. It's one of my favorites that Pixar has done within the last few years.
I have one final question.
Yes.
So in the movie Guess Who? Yeah. We get a scene when she comes home and her sister is like, "I'm so happy I'm not the one who brought home the white boy." Do we get a scene like that?
No, we don't.
I was hoping we get some
Ember's an only child. Okay. And Wade, we get introduced to Wade's siblings, but Wade's brother is married.
Okay.
And Wade's sister or non-binary sibling is in a relationship with a woman.
All right, but they're all with water people. Yeah,
they're all with water people. Wade and Ember are, I'm assuming, the first interracial relationship ever.
Oh, it's like that.
It's like that.
All right, wow. They keep to their own.
Anyway, The Flash. Let's get to the highly controversial The Flash. Disclaimer: we here at this podcast absolutely believe that Ezra Miller should be held accountable for the international crimes that they have committed.
Yes.
And we've talked about it on several occasions on this podcast, including whether or not they should recast the role. So.
Yeah.
But we saw the movie.
We did.
And we're going to talk about our thoughts about the movie.
Yes. So it is directed by Andy Muschietti. You made it. He made Mama. This is his first non-horror movie. So horror movie to superhero pipeline. It's a real thing.
And he will be continuing. We will discuss that later.
Written by Christina Hodson. She wrote Bumblebee. She wrote Birds of Prey.
And The Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
Yes. And I think she wrote the movie Shut In, which is less well known, but I assume it's good. Movie stars, I don't remember. Sasha Kaye, Michael Shannon, Ron Livingston, Mary Bell Verdue, Kiersey Clemens and Michael Keaton, of course.
The very slow mumble of Ezra Miller, as if this dude is not playing several characters.
They're not the Flash. I was gonna just list everybody else and then say, and no one else in particular, but that doesn't work for the star and titular character of the movie.
We could try, though.
Yeah. IMDb summary. Barry Allen uses his super speed to change the past, but his attempt to save his family creates a world without superheroes, forcing him to race for his life in order to save the future. All right. So, Inif's thoughts? It's good.
It's a good movie.
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
I had a fun time.
Yeah, it's very fun. I wasn't letting my expectations get too inflated with the initial reactions of, oh my God, this is the best thing since The Dark Knight. And oh, but y'all ain't never seen a movie like this.
People do that every time.
Yeah, and it's like, all right, well, I'll see when I see it. But I do like it. Good movie. They did their thing.
Yeah, I had a good time. I don't think it's as good as what those inflated reactions were.
Right, fair.
But, you got to sell the movie. So, especially in this situation, you got to sell the movie as best you can.
It's tough.
Yeah, but I think it's a fun superhero adventure with like some great setups and some great payoffs. And I think it's another well-done version of Flashpoint. We've had several versions of Flashpoint done in comics and in TV and in movies. And it's also yet another multiversal movie in the era of multiverse movies.
That's the thing now. It's hot in the streets.
That's the thing, though. That's the thing. Literally had one that came out 2 weeks ago. won an Oscar last year.
There are parts of this that made me think. I leaned over to Kayla and was just like, man, it's just that Spider-Verse came out so recently.
If Spider-Verse had come out after?
Right. Like, Flash would have been much better off if we didn't just watch Spider-Verse do some stuff like this.
AKA the best movie of the year so far.
Yes.
Here's the thing. What I love about... So I think they did a really good job with the story. Mm-hmm. And what I love about Christina Hodson's writing is that she never seems afraid to lean into the absurdity of comic books.
I love that.
Like, it's so... Like, she does it with Birds of Prey. She's not afraid to, like, lean into how crazy or ridiculous that comic books can be.
Yeah.
Like, she seems to have this understanding of, A, there is an absurdity that kind of comes with the power fantasy of comic books. Mm-hmm. And B, audiences will go with it if we care about the characters. Yeah.
And don't try to be too cool for your source material.
Yeah.
Like, don't be like, oh, that's a silly thing to do, so we're going to try to water it down to the level of, it's not that weird. It's like, no, bro, this is weird. This is a weird story. You're adapting a dude, he runs so fast that he time travels, saves his mom, and creates an alternate universe. There's no way to do that in a way that's not absurd.
Like, the absurdity of that is he ran so fast that he went back in time. But the human aspect of that is he did it to save his mom from dying.
Exactly. And that's the stuff that I think the movie hits both so well. The absurd comedy of watching Barry talk to his younger self in his room, and his younger self is a complete child and obnoxious person. But at the end, you get the scene where he realizes what he has to do. And that scene in the store almost broke me down.
Oh, it got me the first time I watched it. And that was the moment where I just was like, all right, I just have to accept that now I am this person who cries in movies. I was not before, but now I am. So I was sitting in that scene like, well, this is just who I am now. So I just got to get used to it.
And as every time a movie almost makes me cry, because I am infamously...
You don't cry in movies.
Disconnected from my emotions. And I'm just like, is this going to be the one? This could be the one. Like, this hurts. Like, I am feeling this right now. And, given, like, it's also funny that we're the two reviewing this movie, because that hits for us in a different way than it would for Colin or Gabby.
We're the two who have actually lost our mothers.
Exactly. So I was just thinking, like, I mean, I could choose a worse movie to be my first movie to make me cry. Like, this is a moment, like, I should be crying right now.
Right. I'm like, if I'm going to cry, it's going to be this one.
And the things that make me, like, that get me, like, the closest to shedding the thug tear are always when I can project myself or my loved ones into whatever the situation is.
That's absolutely what happened during that scene for me.
Exactly.
I was like,
so,
oh no.
For a second, I started to think about my own situation, and like, if I was there, and I was like, nope, don't think about that. Watch the movie. Just watch this white person talk.
See, you pulled yourself out of it. I'm never able to pull myself out. So now I'm like, oh, it's too late. It's too late.
If I didn't,
we've spiraled.
I would have folded like laundry up there if I didn't.
But yeah, no, I think Christina Hodson is so good at balancing humor with the more resonant emotional moments. And that's like across the board with all of the films that I've seen her write so far. Even Bumblebee. That's why Bumblebee was such a good Transformers movie. Birds of Prey is very good at it as well. Far more absurd. But like, but the emotional moments do hit. And this one, follows that trend. And I think that Muschietti does a great job of directing those moments as well and keeping that balance that's written on the page.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good idea to have Barry face his past and learn to move on by meeting his past self. His past self is the embodiment of the things that he has to move on from.
Yeah.
It's not just a fun little character thing like, hey, let's have Barry meet past Barry.
Right.
It's, no, this is Barry meeting himself, but also having to move on from being that person.
Mm-hmm. And want to protect that person from what he knows.
Yes.
About what's going to happen. Like, I can't, like, look at this little idiot. I can't bring him
Look at this child. He's 18.
Yeah.
He knows nothing. I also got some Back to the Future vibes out of this movie, which I really love. Also, funny enough, because I got Back to the Future vibes out of it, there is a long-running Back to the Future joke in the movie that I absolutely adore.
It was a good one.
It is for movie fans.
Mm-hmm.
That is a joke for movie fans. I was like, oh, this is just for the nerds.
I appreciated it.
Because if you don't know, I don't know how well that joke plays. But the first time it pops up, I was like, oh no.
I think it's a fun one because it's one that's simple enough that if you don't know details about it, it plays like, oh, it's different. But if you know the actual details, oh, I see what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's a good one. It works on 2 levels.
Yeah, it does. One of the reasons why these emotional moments work is that these actors have to be really good at these emotional moments.
Yes.
And, Ezra Miller needs to be held accountable for their actions as well as their performance as Barry Allen. And Barry Allen are 2 statements that can coexist at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, as much as, they should probably get off the streets. They did a good job.
They played 2 very different versions of Barry Allen. And I also think that this is their best portrayal of Barry Allen across the several times they've played this character.
I agree.
In 2 different Justice League movies, in a short little stint in Batman vs. Superman.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely the best one. And I think that this is also the most Barry Allen-esque that the character has been.
Okay.
I think younger Barry Allen definitely still has like the shades of what we saw in Justice League, the very hyperactive, very obnoxious, talk a mile a minute, jokey joke type of thing. Like that character is still there in the younger version. Mm-hmm. But Justice League was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been almost 10 years. So Barry's a different, more mature person now. And I think Ezra plays both of those facets very, very well. He's still a mile a minute talking, but it's very clear that Barry has grown up and that he's more serious. Yes.
And I like that because I was very put off by Justice League and Ezra's portrayal and, the movie's portrayal, because I'm sure Ezra didn't just choose to do that. I was like, what is this? Like, this doesn't feel like Barry at all. I do think it makes for a nice juxtaposition because little goofy Barry worked for me way more than he should have. It's so annoying and stupid, but there's this little things like the excitement on his face when, oh my God, I'm gonna get power. And then toward the fight toward the end when they're like, all right, we're gonna do this. And like, he's like, let's do it. And little Barry's like, let's go. It's just like, why do I love this?
It's interesting how it kind of plays as a bit of an origin story without being an origin story.
Yeah.
Which is a fascinating way of doing that without actually being an origin movie.
Yeah, we get to revisit the origin and experience another Barry get this origin, basically.
And learn how to use these powers. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Ezra Miller does a great job. I'm not going to take that from them. They did a great job.
I can't be like, I don't like you, so I'm going to pretend that you're not good at what you do. You're good at what you do. That's not the problem here. The problem is you.
I think this also may be Ben Affleck's best go as Batman, despite this small amount of screen time.
I really like Ben Affleck in this. It's funny because I was reading that Ben Affleck is the actor who's played Batman live action the most, but is also the only Batman to not get a standalone movie.
Jesus.
So it's like, I think he's done it 4 times at this point, but never got a standalone. It's like, dang, I like him a lot. Like the way he talks to Barry about, what he's going to do and just like, I see what you're doing, but nah, don't do it.
Yeah. Until Pattinson, Affleck was my favorite. Well, he was what I considered the most comic book-like portrayal of Batman. Okay. Until Pattinson came along and I was like, sorry, Pattinson's taking the title. But it was like, for me, it was never like Ben Affleck. It was always the writing that they gave him. And this time around, I felt like the writing was suited for Batman.
Okay.
And also the directing was also suited for Batman. I'm going to get into that a little bit later.
Okay.
And so now I'm like, yeah, this is probably the best he's gotten to be as Batman, even though he's here for 5 minutes.
Right. Not a lot of them.
Not a lot. Michael Keaton shines in his return to Batman after 30 years.
Yo, he was so great. Just everything when he's old Bruce in the mansion, when he's Batman fighting people, I loved all of it.
I also appreciate the movie acknowledging his age and not doing it in like, well, I mean, they kind of do it dialogue wise, but when I say acknowledging his age, like, yeah, this dude is fighting crime, but like he gets injured. He's not invincible. Like he's Batman, but he's not invincible. He does get hurt and he is older. So
significantly older.
He is significantly older. It's going to hurt a lot more. And they do that without having to say anything. They just have like a scene of us getting to watch him patch himself up.
I love that scene.
It's such a good scene.
Because you get that and then you see his smile when he's doing it. It's just like,
it's good to be back.
I'm back in the game. And it's just, we don't need to say like, oh, I bet you've missed this or anything like that. He's just like, we see him doing his thing.
And I think that's a sign of good writing as well as good directing.
Yeah, it is the most show don't tell thing. Like, just show us.
And a good performance because Michael Keaton has to pull off that smile that shows.
He killed it.
I'm glad I'm back. It's good to be back, you know?
Man, he got so many cheers.
Yeah.
Like I was saying off mic, this is a really fun audience to watch it with.
It was an interesting one, but yeah.
Because they were making noise. When we first saw his face, when he said I'm Batman, he said, you want to get nuts, let's get nuts.
All the Batman
Some
stuff.
great moments.
Yeah. Even if we had already seen them in the trailer, like for sure, just.
Yeah. And I wish we hadn't, but hey.
Yeah.
You got to get people to watch this movie.
Sasha Calle does a great job as Kara, aka Supergirl. She is not in this movie as much as I would like her to be. She does not have a lot of screen time. Because she doesn't have a lot of screen time, her entire personality is based around Kara's mission to protect her cousin.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, if you know the character's not going to have a lot of screen time and you have to base their persona around something, that's probably the most important detail to base Kara around is that point of her story. So.
Yeah. It's interesting for me because as anyone who knows me knows, I'm a super big fan of like the animated stuff and most versions of Supergirl I see the dynamic, it's not this Flashpoint situation and it's a very different dynamic. She's kind of like the Miles to his Peter Parker. Like Clark gets here, she gets here later. She's his cousin and he's kind of showing her the ropes. So, which
is interesting because she's older.
Yeah, but it's like she's older, but because of, weird comic book stuff.
She's younger.
Travel through space, blah, blah, blah. She's like a teenager, kind of. And
I was explaining all that to Colin the other day, too.
Very, very comic booky, very weird. But, we don't get that here. And obviously, we don't even really get Clark in this context. This isn't the Supergirl I'm used to, but this works for this story.
Yeah.
And I think it will work very well for what James Gunn described as his planned Supergirl movie.
So yes, I've been thinking about that a lot because even though Sasha Calle is not in this movie a lot, I think she's very clearly able to portray several facets of the character within a short amount of time. So like she gets to show Kara's rage, her compassion, her despair, and also that protective nature that she naturally has. And those feel like the foundation of the character that James Gunn is describing in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. It's a darker Kara.
Yeah.
But she has the foundations of the portrayal that you want. So I'm like, let this be her audition tape and give her the movie and let her continue to be Supergirl. Because it would be unfortunate if this was the only time she got to play Supergirl.
Yeah.
And she's very passionate about it. And she's the star that you put on the promo tour. She's in.
She stepped up.
She stepped up and she's only in like 15 minutes of the movie, maybe.
Yeah. And I think for me, I'd have to get used to like, okay, I'm not going to get what I expected to get from, whenever I was watching Justice League Unlimited and all that stuff and thinking about what Supergirl's going to be like when they put it in the movies. It's like, I don't think I'm going to get what I expected because what I expected from that dark Supergirl story he told was going to be a transition from the Supergirl I'm used to into that dark character. And this doesn't feel like it would have to be a big change because of her story. Like the way it starts is like, oh, okay, she's already there. Like she's already ready for that story.
But also this is a different Kara altogether anyway. So
yeah, that would be interesting to see, and whatever the DCU turns out to be continuity wise, what Sasha plays it like if she gets to come back.
Yeah. I feel like it would just be similar to that though. I'm like, if she can do that at that point, like just let her go off, let her do it, let her be the focus and see where her performance takes you, especially since a lot of people are calling her a standout in this movie.
She was very good.
She's very good. She's not there long, but she's very good.
That scene of like,
what did you do? Oh my gosh, like, that scream is So I'm like, I think I got chills off that.
And I saw it in the trailer.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that I appreciated from the way they cut the trailer. Made me think that she was yelling at Barry. Well, because, I was like, I know what he did. So if she found out, she could be upset. But then seeing it in the movie. So when you see a scene from the trailer that hits in a different context, it's like, it's almost like they didn't spoil it for me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that was a really good scene.
Yeah. Her line delivery there, it hits though. She's really good. I also really love the scene of her strengthening up in the sun.
Yeah. That first one was like, because like, she starts off all emaciated and then you see like the hands get bigger. It's like, oh, this is weird looking.
But the one of her on the roof though, like that was good. That was a good one. I was like, oh, this is a really good super scene. The last person I want to talk about who's in the movie, and oh my goodness. So Kiersey Clemons is understandably and also disappointingly underutilized.
Very much so.
Especially because she's Iris West.
Yeah. Which I guess
but
I should have expected when,
it's
like, all right, it's Flashpoint.
Yeah.
This isn't the focus.
Yeah, Iris can't really be. And I knew that going into it. I was like, she's not going to be in this movie a lot because it's a Flashpoint story, meaning like there's no reason for her to be here.
Yeah.
Unless you see her in all these timelines, which could have been fun. But like you can see the birth of a good dynamic between her and Barry forming in this movie. It sucks that that's going to have to be cut short because we're kind of rebooting the universe. Like there's a chance that we're not going to get to see those two play these characters again.
Which, as much as older Barry is to me better than younger Barry, this still doesn't feel like Barry Allen much to me. When I see them together, I was like, I'm not feeling chemistry, but it's also because the way that this Barry plays is not really, doesn't naturally have chemistry with anyone because Barry doesn't have good people skills, as he says later in the movie. And it's just like, I'm thinking about, what's her name in the Flash? Is it Candace Patton?
Candace Patton.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Grant Gustin and Candace Patton, and I'm just like, I want that. But like, I want Kiersey to get that with someone.
Yeah.
And maybe she will. I don't know what they're going to do going forward with the Flash.
I love Kiersey Clemons. Man.
She's great.
She's so
And it's
great.
like, I want her to get what Candace Patton got in that show with someone.
I see it at the end though. Like I watched the end of that movie and I'm like, I see what this could be and what this could become. I can see the trajectory. I can see the potential, and there's a lot of great potential in that.
Yeah.
Because the way that Ezra and Kiersey do play off of each other is very nice. There is a good dynamic there in his awkwardness and in her.
It works with what they're doing. Yeah, he's the awkward guy and she's the like, hey, it's all good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, like I'm like, I can see the future relationship in there within those small moments. It's just like, we're probably never going to get it. And, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But she's good in the small amount of time she's there. She was a great Iris West for the short amount of screen time that she's had across this entire DCEU.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the mandatory multiverse cameos are fun ones. And I don't think they draw too much attention away from the story at hand.
Yeah. I think that was one of the moments that made me think, like, man, if only y'all could drop this before Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Because of the way that Spider-Verse did theirs and the way that they could do theirs. Because one thing I was saying to Kelly is that movie's animated.
Yeah.
So you can do a lot more. And there's a certain suspension of disbelief that comes with watching a cartoon.
Yes.
It's like, this ain't even real. Like, I'm part of Del Toro's animation and cinema camp.
It is.
I don't look at it as differently as a lot of people do. When they see animation, they don't take it as seriously inherently. But it's just, there's certain things in here.
I watched too much adult animation at this point to believe that.
Right. There's certain things in here that I'm like, y'all could do something really cool that Spider-Verse did. You won't though, because this is live action. And like, DCAU Batman swinging in would look super weird in this live action movie. Like, you can't do that. I would love it, but it wouldn't work. And it's just like, I like what they did, but I was just like, there's so many versions of these characters that I love that I know I can't get because they're animated.
I like their design of their multiverse though. I thought that was a very interesting and it's different than any other multiverse design that we've seen so far, which is great. Like in a era of us constantly seeing multiverses at this point, we've been introduced to several of them in the past 2 years.
Yes.
It's cool to see like an individual, like unique design of here's what our multiverse looks like.
Yeah. Those did look super cool.
Here's the Corona Bowl. Here's
all these. Yeah.
Here are these worlds. Here's this world. Here's this world.
And they look like worlds. Like the big spherical, colorful. I was like, this looks cool. It looks, fun, comic booky.
I like Muschietti's directing, and I appreciate the way he weaves through the humor and the drama of the movie. I think what I found most impressive was his ability to preserve the tone and visuals of Affleck's Batman and Keaton's Batman. And I talked about that with you guys yesterday, just like how Affleck kind of holds on to his grittier, more visceral Frank Miller style of Batman, whereas Keaton's Batman feels like he's evolved from Burton's Batman, but he's still from that universe. He still comes out of a more physics defying comic book than Affleck does.
He feels very like everything is bat shaped. The way he moves is like, I don't know how he did that, but I love it.
Yeah,
I had so much fun watching his action scene in Siberia or Russia, wherever they were. And it's funny because I was thinking like, Keaton can't move like that,
but Batman can.
But Bruce Wayne can, and I just loved it. Like seeing the kicks and stuff like that. It's like, oh, Keaton wasn't moving like that in '89, but I am here for it.
And both of them have like moments where they're defying gravity, like they're using their capes to do the things that we've seen Batman do. But there's a difference in the way that the physics works for them for some reason. Like Ben Affleck's cape stuff is like, he might hit the ground, he might run into a wall, like it's not as fluid and like
it's messy.
It's messy, but like he's Batman and he knows how to work through the mess and get to where he needs to go.
Exactly. Like y'all gonna drag me on the street, but when I get to you, I'm beating your ass.
Yeah. Keaton's is like high flying circus, like
gliding through this entire scene.
There's no reason my cape should be able to do this, but it does. Like I shouldn't be able to fall from thousands of feet from the air and be able to do this, but it's a superhero movie, it's a Batman movie, it's a Batman comic, of course he can do these things. And it just makes me so excited for what Muschietti's gonna bring when he does direct the DCU Batman movie, The Brave and the Bold, which was announced this week, literally the day that The Flash came out, because I just felt like there was so much love in the way that he depicted Batman. Even more so than depicting Flash. Like, there's so much love in his depiction of Batman that I'm so curious to see what he brings to the table when he makes his own just pure Batman film.
Yeah, I have a lot of curiosities because the way he did this one, it feels, you know, it is a Flash movie. So like you said, he leans into the comedy. Like that opening scene with the hospital is so many types of ridiculous. And I was like, okay,
but straight out of a comic book.
This is what we're getting into. But it's also one of those things, like I talked about, there are things that are so silly to me, but then little things, little tags or buttons that they put on them make them work. Like the scene with all the babies, that was just like, this is a mess. What is going on? But then the way that he presents it to the nurse after he saves her, he's like, ta-da. I was like, God, I love that. It's so stupid. I love it.
I love the way that the title card comes up, because the first time it tries to come up, it disappears.
That was great. I was like, this is really like, they're having fun with it, and I love that.
It just confirms that Muschietti is going to give us a different type of Batman than what we're getting from Reeves's Batman, which is extremely important when it's going to come to differentiating the two of them.
Because I was wondering, you know, with the story with Damian in it, I'm like, this is probably going to be pretty dark. It's like, huh. Now I'm wondering what Muschietti's version of Batman, whatever that Batman is going to look like. He
clearly can do different types of Batman. So I'm curious as to what his version is going to be, whether it's going to be like some meeting in the middle or if it's going to be more Keaton or like what's the deal. I'm excited to see what that looks like. The only thing that I would criticize about this film is the visual effects style.
Real wonky in certain places.
Yeah, like I love when the way like Barry runs and like the lightning effects and all that type of stuff. The way that like the first time he goes running in the film, like we see like the road stretched out in front of us. Like
I like
the world thins out.
Speed Force.
Yeah,
I like everything around Barry, but not Barry. Even in this movie, you can tell they're making fun of the way that Ezra does the running motion.
Yes,
it looks ridiculous, and I didn't like it in Justice League. I don't like it in this, and I think part of it is the way they chose to do the Speed Force. He's moving through everything, but he doesn't look like he's moving fast.
No, not at all.
That doesn't work for me because it doesn't make sense, because it's like, yo, the Flash moves fast. That's his whole thing. You basically put him on this like Speed Force treadmill or whatever, and everything's zooming past him. But then we see Barry just kind of running, not at a fast, like his limbs aren't moving fast. Yeah. He's not running fast. So I'm just like, what is this? What is this? I don't like it.
I still think my favorite display of super speed in any movie is Eternals, because I thought that looked really visceral and very, very cool.
Makari.
And how fast she looks doing it is insane. But I do like the way it looks in this Flash movie as well, though. I think what really does it for me is that opening speed scene and seeing how far Central City is from Gotham and really getting the expanse of that distance and seeing how fast he runs through it. I thought that was an excellent display of his super speed.
And that's what I mean by everything around him I like. Like, I liked all of that. The setting, moving through time, I liked all of that. It's just, man, that run. And there's a point when he doesn't do that. There's a point when he's running, and I think it might be when he first goes back in time, and he's just trying to run. And he's just running normally. And I'm like, just do that, Barry. Just run like that. That's fine. That looks great. Just run.
When he's leaving his child at home.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you can run like a normal person.
But yeah, there is some CGI. There's quite a bit of CGI in this movie that's a little wonky looking. And even sometimes when it's the two berries, you can kind of see which one of them is CGI and which one of them isn't, which is insane. You shouldn't be able to do that in 2023. It's not bad enough to pull me out of the story, but it's enough that I noticed. Yeah. And I know that Muschietti said that like they were going for a certain style with their visual effects. And if that's true, it's just not for me. Okay, yeah. There's stuff in the Chrono Bowl that I was like, why? Like I feel like I would have accepted the Chrono Bowl even more if everything else outside of the Chrono Bowl looked fine and photorealistic. Yeah, I could see that. But then it's also just like, why is it like now you're in a video game cutscene when you were in real life a second ago? It just like and I can understand. I can get with that concept. Like this is the one thing that doesn't quite look photorealistic. Well, like everything else normal looks normal, and this looks weird. That could be a nice little differentiation. Yeah, it's funny because I usually don't even really notice CGI when it's wonky or bad, and if I do, it's usually whatever. I can push right through it. It doesn't take me out. It was just there are a lot of things in here that look weird to me. Starting with the babies. Oh boy, the baby. But yeah, otherwise it's a good movie. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I saw it in IMAX. So I talked about how there are certain things about the comedy that shouldn't work, but yet they do, and there's some that just don't. I didn't love all of the comedy in this. Yeah, but you're not gonna love all the comedy in anything. So just like it's really good, right? Like all the comedy in Spider-Verse is fantastic. Yeah, so it's not a perfect movie. It's not the best thing since Dark Knight or whatever, but it's good. Yeah, I feel it's fun. They did it very well. I feel like internet discourse tends to miss any sort of nuance. It's either very hyperbolic. Either it's the greatest thing ever or it's bad. And which is funny because shout out to the Australians, The Weekly Planet. When they do a review, they have this system that they say best movie ever or worst movie ever. And I think it's kind of like a play on the hyperbole of internet movie discourse. Yeah. Because it's like, oh, we like this movie, so best movie ever, or we didn't, so it's worst movie ever. There are people who just seem to talk like that in their everyday life. It's like, y'all not tired? You can't just say I like it or nah, not really for me. You got to be like, this is the most disappointing thing in the world, or oh my god, I can't believe y'all said this was good. Y'all never seen a movie in your life. You suck. You're blind. Or like, oh my god, this movie's the best thing ever. Nothing has ever been made like this. Put Scorsese in the ground. Freaking Colin. But it's like, yo, there are certain movies like Across the Spider-Verse that get that hyperbole out of me. Like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to see a movie like this for years to come. I know I won't. That's great. But not every movie has to be either the best thing you've seen or the worst thing you've seen. There's a lot of space in between. Some movies are just good, and that's fine. Yeah, this movie is good. I enjoyed it. Had a great time. It's a fun time. I love superhero stuff. I'm going to give you my goofy comic book nonsense. Yeah. I'm here for it. So I recommend it if you feel okay with giving this movie money, or if you have an A-list stubs like me and Dallas do. So we didn't have to pay for our tickets. Yeah. It's hard for me to review a movie that's got such a controversial lead because I am somebody who, tries to avoid supporting people who are that controversial. Right. So like when I recommend something, I specifically for who I think would like this movie, boycotts and extra textual situations aside, that's up to you. If you don't want to see it, you don't want to see it. But, if you're into the superhero stuff, you don't need it to be too serious. If you like The Flash, I say it's worth it. Give it a shot. All right. We went way over. The Flash. We went way over time. Oh, so it's like, I really wanted to do what you've been watching today, too. Me too. But I feel like we can do it. I mean, we can. Just really fast, though. All right. I'll go first because mine is adjacently related. All right. What you been watching? Batman and Superman, Battle of the Super Sons. Animated DC movie. Nice. I wanted to talk about it last week, but I didn't. So here we are. This is a better time to talk about it because it's DC Day. Directed by Matt Peters, written by Jeremy Adams, starring Jack Dylan Grazer, Jack Griffo, Troy Baker, Travis Willingham,
and Laura Bailey as Lois Lane. Yeah, right?
Travis Willingham and Laura Bailey?
Yes. Travis plays... I have to figure that out. But Laura Bailey plays...
I
Lois
already really wanted to see that movie, and now I absolutely have to watch it.
I want you to watch it.
I love Laura Bailey. Critical Role. What's up?
Is Travis Willingham from Critical Role too?
He is, and her husband.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
funny. Oh, he's Superman. That's funny. They're married.
They're Superman. Oh my God.
That's funny. It's fun. It's cute, but it's not. So, like, I told you off mic about the animation. It's very Dragon Prince. I think this is the first movie that DC Animated did in this 3D style.
Okay.
Which is going to take some getting used to for me, but it doesn't look bad. It's just not what I'm used to. But it makes you think that it's going to be kind of like kiddish. Like, you have the two kids. Jack Dylan Grazer plays Jonathan Kent very earnestly. He's this, sweet kid. Jack Griffo. Yeah, the Jacks. He's playing Damien like Damien, so he's a dick.
That's my boy.
And
my son.
Yeah, this like fun dynamic you get once Damien stops being such a dick. Like, Clark takes John to the Batcave to talk to Bruce, and Damien shows up, and Damien is immediately like, yo, dad, you want me to get the kryptonite? Like, it's like,
boy,
these are guests. Like, what's up with you? And that's kind of his whole vibe. It's a Starro story. So you know how that works.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
get, it's not much of a spoiler because, the whole thing is Starro takes over people. But Lois gets Starroed up, and Damien is like, just use your heat vision to kill her already. John's like, I'm not going to kill my mom.
That's my mama.
But that's pretty much their dynamic. It's kind of like Jaime and the Scarab in Young Justice. Like, John's just trying to do things, and Damien's like, kill him, kill everybody.
Those are my sons.
It's very fun. The reason I said it's cute, but it's not, is because it feels like it's going to be kind of a kid's movie from the beginning. And then when the Starro stuff happens, it turns into straight up body horror. Like, there's a point when Bruce walks up to Damien, the way his hands start twitching, I was like, a horror movie director had to make this because I am uncomfortable. And they do stuff like that with Starro a lot. It's very jarring, but it's dope. It is a fun time. It's a DC animated movie, so it's like 80 minutes at the most, probably. It's a nice little fun time. Krypto's in it, being the goodest boy. Looks adorable. The funny thing to me is that if you go on Letterboxd right now for this movie, it's full of people going back and forth with discourse about white Damien. Not only is he white in this movie, he is like bright, like he is pasty white.
Oh, come on, guys.
And you have people saying stuff like white Damien jump scare. And like, people are like, well, they drew him white initially. And he's like, well, he's not.
So stop.
Or at least not completely. Like, he's half white at the most.
Give him a tan at least.
Right. Make him a little brown. Like, man, you look like a mama. My favorite one, I was trying to find out who wrote it on Letterboxd, but somebody, their review is just, whose goddamn white baby is that? And that killed me. But yeah, it's a fun movie. I would recommend it for you specifically, Demi. Like, if you're into the Super Sons.
I've been wanting to watch it since I saw the trailer for the first time, and I just haven't watched it.
It's a fun one. If you're into the Super Sons, or, you like the DC animated stuff.
Yeah. Well, I was super into it because I like the Super Sons. I love Damien and I love John, just like as characters.
Yeah, I think this movie's for you.
It is for me.
Just adjust your eyes to white Damien.
Now it's got Travis and Laura playing Superman and Lois.
Literally for you.
Oh, they're about to be my favorite Superman and Lois ever. Okay, what have I been watching? I'm going to try and make this real quick. I was going to do the after party, but we're going to end up reviewing season 2 pretty soon, so whatever.
Yeah.
I'm instead going to talk about First Kill, which is on Netflix. Hey. Only 8 episodes. It's already canceled, so
yeah.
Cool. It's created by V.E. Schwab, who also wrote the short story that the show is based on, and it stars Sarah Catherine Hook, Imani Lewis, Elizabeth Mitchell, Oben Wise, Gracie Ziani, Dominic Goodman, Philip Mullings Jr., Jason R. Moore, Will Swinson, and Jonas Dylan Allen. The IMDb summary is falling in love is tricky for teens, Juliet and Calliope. One's a vampire and the other's a vampire hunter, and both are ready to make their first kill.
All right.
West, this is your fault. And I love you for it, but I also hate you for it. 8 episodes. It's already canceled. And I knew it was canceled before I started watching it, and I still got emotionally attached, and I hate that for me. So I was watching it, and my thought process as the show went on became, this is Romeo and Juliet meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Twilight. And I love every second of this. There are things that I absolutely love about it.
Yeah.
And then there are probably just as many things that I could criticize about it. What I will say about the show is that it had a lot of great potential.
Nice.
And I would have loved to have seen where the story went as it went on. I love Jules and Cal, who are our two leading characters. They're great. Somebody pointed out on Tumblr that Jules, like, vampires are typically very charming and like you get bit and you're charming and you're hot and all sorts of, like, you know, the vampire thing, you're a badass, all these things.
Yeah.
Jules is socially awkward and a sweetheart and just so cute and adorable. And it helps that Sarah Catherine Hook, who plays her, is so small. She's like, I don't know, she's got to be like 5'2", because Imani, who plays Cal, is like 5'7", and the height difference is insane. And I'm just like, she's so small and cute. Somebody protect her. But she's a vampire. She really doesn't need me to.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is about Jules is that Jules is a legacy vampire, so she was born that way. And her whole thing is that she is actively avoiding the transition into becoming a full, like, vampire, I guess. And the way that she has to do the full transition is by killing somebody. She's like, nah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
And Cal is the new girl in school that Jules is super into. She's also the first person that really acknowledges Cal and is very nice to her. And Cal is like really into her because of that. Like, you know, you like me, but because she's been paying so close attention to Jules, she starts to realize, oh, you're a vampire. Can't have that. And she's really anxious. So while Jules is avoiding having her first kill, Cal is eager to get her first kill.
Oh boy.
Because she wants to feel more a part of her family, because her two older brothers both got their first kills at like 12 and 14, and she's 16.
Okay.
And so she's like, I really want this, and I really want to be a hunter.
Gotta step it up.
Ugh, the Romeo and Juliet of it all. Just, I love it so much, because like their family dynamics become like an important part of it. The politics of the vampire world become a part of it, because Jules is like the descendant of the person who was in charge of basically all the vampires. It's like their romance, just as Romeo and Juliet do, just causes all sorts of drama for both of their families and all sorts of trouble. One of the things I appreciate most about the show is that, so the show starts, and one of the things that I used to praise about Willow was like, within the first 20 minutes, like, you're like, oh, these two women are in love with each other. Like, that was one of the great things about Willow, was like, we're not beating around the bush. These two women love each other, period. That's what it is.
Yeah.
With First Kill, the first frame is like, homophobes beware. Because, like, if you can get away, this is not for you.
You came to the wrong place.
You came to the wrong place from the first frame.
Yeah.
Like, they like making out immediately. And like, even then, like, their more intimate moments together, I was like, because usually they don't allow that for sapphic couples, especially not on a teenage show. So yeah. I mean, nobody's getting naked or anything like that.
But it crazy.
Yeah, ain't nothing crazy. But for sure, it was just like, oh, I wasn't expecting us to have like legitimate makeout sessions on this show. Okay, cool. Y'all doing the thing. We don't really get that out here. But yeah, it's super campy. I think it's a lot of fun.
It gave me some CW vibes.
Yeah, it's got some CW stuff in there. But I always really liked CW shows.
Perfect.
There were things about CW shows that I think are missing from shows in general, specifically romance. Yeah, this show made me, going along with Elemental, it really made me root for this couple.
Nice. And
for them to find a way to make it work and for them to work out. So yeah, it's only 8 episodes if you want to have your heart broken, like I did. I didn't know I was gonna have my heart broken by the end of it. So thanks for that, Wes. You did not warn me at all. But I had a great time and I really, really liked that show. And now I need to make a bunch of headcanons to make up for the fact that it does not end on a... It ends in like, it's the end of the first season. Like, we're building up to something.
And then Netflix was like,
nope. We're never going to see what it was building up to. Shout out to Sarah Catherine Hook and Imani Lewis. They're really, really good on the show.
Also, shout out to Felicia Henderson. She is one of the executive producers of the show. She is from Pasadena. Whoop, whoop.
Woo woo.
And she's a friend of my dad.
Yo, if you see her, tell her I said thank you.
Yeah. Felicia, if you're out here, if you hear this, if you're listening, slide your boy some nepotism. Because I'm trying to get in the game. She's done a lot. She worked on The Punisher, Fringe, Fresh Prince, Moesha, Sister. No. She wrote some comic books. Like, I will take some nepotism in the comic book or TV industry.
Yo, for real. Thank you for First Kill, because I had a great time. Also, happy Pride Month, guys.
Oh, look at that.
To keep going with Pride Month. Perfect show to watch during Pride Month. It's great. True.
And with black people in it. We love that.
Yes.
Black Pride?
Black Pride is everything.
Time for Juneteenth and Pride Month. We love to see it.
We love to see it.
One of the girls is white, right?
Yeah.
I saw a tweet that said, am I allowed to bring a white person to a Juneteenth celebration? And somebody responded, you gonna bring the reason that we had to have Juneteenth to the celebration? That's so funny.
That feels like That feels like an interaction Cal would have. Probably with Apollo. I think Apollo would be like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, maybe meet them after. But yeah.
Oh, man.
Shout out First Kill. Shout out everybody involved, especially Felicia. Shout out Pasadena.
Woo woo.
All right.
Let's get through these.
Some trailers.
So funny story, guys. We're actually recording this the day that Tudum is happening.
Oh, snap.
But we're recording it before Tudum has even started, so we are not even going to get to anything that was released there. So if you guys are looking for that, that'll be next week. Sorry.
Yes, but we do have some Netflix stuff for you. They Cloned Tyrone. It's finally happening. It is coming out. I have concerns.
Again.
It looks good. It looks funny. Cast is amazing.
Yes.
John Boyega, Tiana Paris, Jamie Foxx.
When Tiana Paris is on my actors list at the end of the year, what then, guys? What then?
As I said off mic.
You said it on mic before.
Probably, yeah. I don't want white people to know about it. I don't want people to see it. I don't want them to watch it, laugh at it. Like, it's giving me a lot of Undercover Brother vibes. And, you know, I love that movie.
Oh, I adore that movie. I don't know a lot of white people who have seen Undercover Brother, though.
Good. These aren't jokes that I feel comfortable watching with white people. Like I told you about when I watched the trailer for The Blackening and I was sitting next to some white people, I was like, this isn't for you guys, don't laugh. But it's just, I don't know that we need an Undercover Brother movie in 2023.
The moment that they were like, it's in the chicken,
I was like, no.
I was like, that's an Undercover Brother joke.
Bro,
right
when
there.
Jamie Foxx pulls out the grape drink from the box, I was like, oh my God, what are we doing? Netflix, why?
Because it's funny when we do it.
Exactly. And it's like, okay. I think the internet's going to get interesting.
I think it's funny that it's in a conspiracy movie, though. Like, they are stumbling upon a conspiracy, and it seems like that conspiracy consists of all these stereotypes about black people.
Yeah. It's like, oh, boy. I'm going to laugh, but I'm going to feel weird about it.
We need to have a movie night where we watch this movie. Oh, man. I love John Boyega. He's great. I've loved him since, technically, Attack the Block. I watched Attack the Block before The Force Awakens came out. Nice. So I've been a fan of his since I saw that movie shortly before The Force Awakens came out, probably the summer before. And he's just so great. And I want his career to thrive. Keep doing what he's doing. He's clearly passionate about what he's doing. Doesn't really have an interest in doing IPs anymore. Sorry that Star Wars ruined that for you. But, you know, he's doing his thing and he's creating the stories that he wants to create. And I think that that's aspirational.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jamie Foxx. Glad he's recovering. Glad he's cool.
Yes.
Jamie Foxx is one of the most talented actors out there. Highly underrated. Just so multi-talented.
He's great.
Sing, act, super funny. So I can't wait to see him in this. And then Tiana Paris, I've just been a fan of since Dear White People. She's so good. And I'm so excited to see her in this and in the Marvels this year. And this movie looks so funny. I know, Dallas, I know you're having a hard time, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be great.
Look at the writer of this movie. One of the writers, Tony Rettenmeyer. If this is the picture of this man, I don't even want a dude who looks like this to see the movie. So I feel very concerned. But he wrote it with Jewel.
He also wrote Searching.
Great writer.
Oh, wait, no. He's a producer on Searching.
Great producer, I guess. I don't know.
He also wrote Space Jam: A New Legacy.
All right. It says it's written by Taylor and Tony Rettenmeyer. I don't know who they are, but if this picture is Tony Rettenmeyer. I have some questions, sir. Why did you want to do this story? Is Jewel a friend of yours? Was he like, yo, I need you to...
They wrote Space Jam together.
Okay. So I guess they're like collaborators.
Yeah. He also wrote Creed 2, Jewel Taylor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of Netflix, Nimona. Looks adorable.
Yo, I feel like Disney's going to regret not continuing that production.
Were they making Nimona?
They were.
Oh.
And then I think when the Fox was making it.
Oh.
And then when the acquisition happened, Disney stopped production on it. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I think Disney's going to regret not keeping it. It looks like it's a really good movie.
Yeah. It's one of those that I was like, I can see the appeal. I don't know if this is for me exactly, but I do love Chloe Grace Moretz. I think Riz Ahmed is the other lead.
Nice.
He's really good too.
Riz Ahmed is great.
Yeah. Great cast. Funny trailer. Adorable animation.
I like the animation style a lot.
I haven't read the graphic novel. I've heard good things about it.
I have a lot of friends who are super excited about this movie coming out. So
yeah.
It looks cool. I like the setting. I like the character design in it. Ooh,
I like the animation a lot.
Lorraine Toussaint is in it. She's great.
Nice.
She was in She-Ra.
Oh, okay. Not a whole lot to say about it. The trailer looks cute. It looks fun. Nimona looks like a very fun character. I think their dynamic's going to be great.
like I said, animation style, character design,
cool.
it looks super cool. I love the setting of the entire thing, like this futuristic kingdom type of look that it's got going. Like, I love knights and stuff like that, and then you put it in a futuristic setting, and I just think that's fantastic.
Yeah, you have the knights with the crossbows or whatever, but then they have a laser scope on it. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's
really cool. Futuristic medieval world is what IMDb is calling it, labeling it, describing. And I think that's really dope. But yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. Looks really good. I might check it out. I've been hearing enough about it. I'd like have no idea what it's about, but I've been hearing enough about it that I'm like, okay, cool. Now I've seen a trailer and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Give that a watch. Check that out.
Speaking of things that Disney did do, Elio, Disney and Pixar.
Yes.
Also looks adorable.
It does. It looks so cute.
Yeah.
This is only a teaser trailer, so there's not much given to us except the bare premise, which is that these aliens abduct this kid because they think that he is the leader of Earth.
Yes.
And now he has to pretend that he is the leader of Earth.
And he has to do his best to handle that situation. Honestly, I feel the same way I feel about Nimona. Like, I don't know if I'm going to end up watching this one, but it looks cute. It looks pretty funny.
I'm very glad that you and Colin's prediction of the beginning of the movie being like showing us how he lost his eye. At least I'm hoping that that's not in this movie. Feels like it's not. So
yeah, I don't think they're gonna go.
Although it's Pixar, so who knows? Maybe there's
you never know. Yeah,
an up montage at the beginning of this where we find out how this kid lost his eye.
You never know what Pixar is gonna subject you to.
Hopefully not. I think the space stuff looks really cool. It's a very interesting design. There's a scene where like he's running his hand along some sort of gold metal stuff, and he's like, "Wow, I wish Mom could see me now."
Oh yeah, those look really cool.
Like that looks really beautiful.
Also, that shot of when he's, I guess, in the ocean, and that wave comes up and stops in front
frozen,
of him.
Yeah,
that looks super dope. Like Pixar, they're gonna give you the animation.
They are gonna give you the animation. They're gonna give you that good because it looks great. Also, America Ferrera is playing the mom, I think.
Oh yeah, I did not know who that was.
I think it's America Ferrera, if I remember correctly, from D23. That was so long ago, though. Yeah, it looks cool. I'll probably watch it. I have a tendency of just going to see Pixar movies because they're Pixar movies. So
I used to have that.
That's why I went to go see Elemental, and then Elemental ended up being one of my favorite things I've seen this year, and it's super cute. So
it's working out for you.
It's working out, guys. It's working out. But yeah, Elio looks real cute. Looks like something to take your kids to, as Pixar movies do.
But on to something.
Oh, also the dude.
What's up?
Who talks about eating his mom.
Oh, I love that joke.
That's hilarious.
That was just the me thing, yeah. Everyone was shocked.
It's just like, what?
All these trailers have really good moments toward the end because they clone Tyrone. My favorite part of that trailer is at the end when the news reporter is trying to report and that dude just comes out like, "Oh, yo, they cloning niggas out here, bro. It's crazy." And then the white reporter is just like, "Yes, that is the prevailing theory." Like, that's great. But yeah, good stuff. But on to another Disney animated thing. This one I will 100% watch. Kizazi Moto, Generation Fire. It is an anthology, African stories, animated in various animation styles.
Afrofuturism.
It is for me. Like, I am the target audience, and I will be watching.
It reminds me a lot of Star Wars Visions, which is another anthology series that's done by different animation houses and different art styles and stuff like that with different stories within the Star Wars universe. The difference being obviously that this is not Star Wars and it's it's different stories within the Afrofuturistic genre, which I think is great. I am glad that Afrofuturism is now kind of making it's becoming more mainstream. I think Afrofuturism is super cool, and there's way more media that I would love to watch and to just kind of take in because it's just such a cool concept. Yeah. And everything always looks so cool. And it
looks super dope.
And you know what? Thank you, this is why another reason Black Panther is the best Marvel movie because I think Black Panther has kind of opened the door for this to become a mainstream genre.
Definitely. I don't know that we get this if not for the success of that movie.
I'm sorry, all you Marvel fans, but nothing is ever going to have the impact that Black Panther has. It's the best one. You can't outdo it. The impact is too great. No other Marvel movie will ever have the impact.
Oh, speaking of Black Panther, Florence Kasumba's in this apparently.
Hey, we love to see it.
Yeah, it looks super dope. Also looking at this cast list, very African, and I love that. I came from a time when we had to grow up watching white people voice Egyptians in Prince of Egypt, so
it's a wonderful movie.
Very happy to see. Great movie. But I'm happy to see where we've come.
There was a tweet that I quoted the other day that was like, "What's your favorite Val Kilmer movie that's not Batman Forever? That's not Batman Forever or something like that?" And I was like, Willow or the Prince of Egypt. And it's wild that the Prince of Egypt is
right. He played this Egyptian man.
He played Moses.
Wild. Yeah. This looks super dope. I am a sucker for animation and for anthologies, and this is both.
You're also a sucker for anything black, so
Here I am. Look at me. It looks so dope. It's funny because you go to Star Wars Visions, I go to Love, Death, and Robots.
Yeah, because I don't watch Love, Death, and Robots.
Yeah, and I don't watch Visions, so it's like it covers. We both got something, but Love, Death, and Robots is a lot, and it's made to be a lot. It's marketed as a lot. This is Disney. It's gonna be a lot more palatable.
I think that's why,
I appreciate.
I think that's why my mind also goes to Visions, because also a Disney Plus show.
Yeah.
And also I think because the animation styles of Visions, like, it varies so drastically depending on what episode you're watching. Like, and I feel like it's gonna be the same with this. Like, you see in the trailer the vast diversity of animation that's in there, more so than like Love, Death, and Robots. I think when I see that, I'm just like, it's CGI art style.
I think those are the most popular ones.
Yeah, and they don't look all the same, because I've seen images, like, they look like different episodes clearly. But do they do 2D?
Yeah, the ones that you probably hear the most about are the 3D more, ones, like, 3D kind of realistic looking ones, because those are like, oh, look at that, super cool. But they'll do some stuff that's just straight up like,
okay, cool,
2D cartoon animation.
Sweet. Those are the ones I've like never seen anything from.
Yeah, they're not as prominent.
Okay,
but yeah, this one we're getting a lot of everything with Generation Fire.
I'm excited about that.
I can't wait. I love it. I love it. News. Where did my news
We've touched upon the first news piece, which is that Andy Muschietti will be directing The Brave and the Bold for DC Studios.
Yes.
Which was announced on Thursday. We kind of already talked about our expectations of that, to be fair.
Yeah, we covered it. So that's that. That happened.
I'm excited. Can't wait to see it. I don't know if I don't think they have a writer for it yet. I think they only have Muschietti as director.
And that's what's going to influence my interest more, I think, depending on if they get a writer that I know or one that I like, dislike. We'll see what happens.
I am curious as to casting.
I'm very curious as to casting.
Because, I mean, Muschietti, I'm thinking of The Flash. And I'm like, there aren't a lot of significant characters in that movie that he had to cast.
Fair, yeah.
Ezra was already cast. Michael Keaton is Michael Keaton.
Right.
Ben Affleck is Ben Affleck.
I guess he just had to pick the parents for Ezra, right? He picked Ron Livingston because Billy Crudup couldn't do it. Yeah,
but initially he didn't have to, but then he ended up having to. And then, the mom did have to get picked. But Sasha Kaye is the one. That's
the only one he did.
Yeah, that's the superhero that he had to cast. And obviously that video of him telling her the news that she got the role is great. Love that video. It's a fantastic video. But yeah, I'm interested to see, because I think Sasha Kaye, he chose a great actress for that role. So I'm curious as to see who he's going to pick for Batman, who's going to pick for Damian.
Yeah.
DC, please. I'm begging you. I am begging you. Let my boy be brown. And let his mama and his grandfather be brown too.
Yeah, like, just, we've talked about, because, we fan casted the Al Ghuls and all that. We've talked about the nebulous ethnic backgrounds of these people, but they're not white. Like, wherever they come from, they're not white.
Damian is half white. That is it.
Yeah, Damian's half white. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
But please, for the love of God, I'm begging you. Just give me this. I'm so excited to see Talia and Damian. Damian is my boy. He's my favorite Robin.
Yeah.
Please. Outside of Dick Grayson, but Dick Grayson's like everybody's favorite Robin. So
he's great.
It's kind of like when you ask who's your favorite Power Ranger. Like, I don't mean Tommy Oliver. That's everybody's favorite Power Ranger. I mean, who's your favorite outside of him?
Speaking of casting, Mortal Kombat 2 keeps casting people.
Oh, well, now they're done, I think.
Yeah, they said they rounded out their cast.
It sounds like they're done.
They have, who they got? Martin Ford, Desmond Chiam, thank you. Anna Tu Huynh, and Damon Harriman. Ford is Shao Kahn. Chiam is King Jared. You know who that is. Huynh is Sindel, love her. And Harriman is Quan Chi. I know there are a lot of people out there, probably like Demi, who I just said a bunch of words right now.
Absolutely.
Don't know who these characters are.
But I know who Desmond Chiam is. That's the only person.
Right, like, the actors maybe, but like as far as these characters go.
I'm telling you right now, Desmond Chiam is actually the only person in this whole thing who I know.
Okay, I didn't know any of these.
You know Desmond Chiam.
Who's he?
He's in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Who is he?
He hangs out with
He's one of the
Flag
Flag
Smasher.
Smashers?
Yeah, he hangs out with Carly Morgenthau. He's like the main Flag Smasher outside of her.
That's funny. I don't remember that show at all. It's like, it might as well be a Mission Impossible movie. Like, I watched it, I was like, cool. Immediately out of my mind.
I need to rewatch it now that I've become such a huge fan of Erin Kellyman. Like, I loved her in that show. I remember loving her in that show. I've loved her in everything that she's ever done. But now Willow is really what I've been like, yeah, she's amazing. So now I'm like, she was great on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I should go back. Desmond Chiam, I know him from Falcon and the Winter Soldier and from With Love, which is a rom-com television show on Amazon Prime, which just came back. I need to watch season 2. I really like him. I'm very excited for him. I'm glad that he is like making a name for himself. He's getting up there, going from those 2 television shows and now being part of Mortal Kombat 2. That's great.
Yeah, I am.
But like you said, those character names those are words. I don't know.
Yeah, who that is.
Words exist. Those sounds.
I'm excited. I'm partially disappointed because I wanted to fan cast some of these characters, but now we don't have to. Shao Kahn is the big bad. I guess he wasn't in the first one. I should rewatch the first one because my memory is fuzzy. Shao Kahn is a big scary dude. Sindel is this evil magic milfy woman who has a black canary screech, to put it in terms you can understand.
Love it.
There's a death battle on YouTube with her and Black Canary because they have the same power. I don't remember who won. And then Quan Chi, this is an interesting one for me because in the undisputed best part of the first Mortal Kombat movie with Scorpion and Sub-Zero in the beginning, we see that Sub-Zero came in and murked Scorpion's whole squad, and Scorpion's upset about it.
You know how movies be doing. We just be going back and finding out that people managed to get away.
Exactly. In the games, we found out that Quan Chi was actually responsible for that whole thing.
Dang.
Yeah. And I was hoping we would do that because I love Sub-Zero. I'm trying to clear my boy's name. So I'm hoping we get that. I want him to beat the allegations in Mortal Kombat 2. And now that we have a Quan Chi, I'm like, let's do it. Interesting choice. Quan Chi, I don't know Damon Harriman. He looks very white. Quan Chi does not sound like a very white name.
None of these names sound like very white names. Let's be fair here.
And they're not. But, I guess, I don't know. They're also not humans, so I guess it doesn't matter. It's one of those things. It's like when you adapt an anime, and it's like these characters, like if they're like, aliens or something like that, it's like the characters aren't Japanese because they're not human, but it feels like they should be played by Japanese people.
Unless you're watching My Hero Academia.
Well, they're mostly humans.
I mean, there are characters who've got like animal heads and stuff like that, but they were still
but they're people.
They're born in Japan.
Yeah. I just mean something that's like not based in our reality.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. But Quan Chi's not any kind of person, so I guess he could be played by whoever.
Just has an Asian name, that's a choice. But then again,
video games.
Ra's al Ghul might have been Chinese and took an Arabic name. I don't know.
Yeah.
Depends on which storyline you go with, I guess.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm here for it. I will be watching. Maybe this time I will remember Desmond Chiam.
I was already going to be watching, so.
Yeah.
They said Tati Gabrielle's going to be in it. Louis Tan was already in the sequel, so I was already there. I liked the first one.
Carl Urban. Love that from me.
Yeah, I liked the first one. And like I said, I don't come to these movies for the story. I come for the action.
Exactly. I'm here to see some more action.
I'm here to see spines get used as jump ropes and...
Exactly. Like tetherball with somebody's head.
Let's do it.
Also, I think Joe Taslim's coming back. Love that.
I love Joe Taslim after the first Mortal Kombat, so yeah.
Yeah. Also blind spotting. Mustafa?
Yes.
Mustafa.
Listen, that was the most unexpected moment for me. I was like, Joe Taslim? What is
Sub-Zero doing here?
I was like, what is Sub-Zero doing here? Why are you here?
It has Sub-Zero singing E40 songs.
On a piano.
Love it.
And then had him fight her through the house. I was like, what? Because for sure when the episode started, I was like, wait, Joe Taslim? Oh, he's just going to be acting. Okay. And then he started fighting. I was like, oh, okay, good.
Gotta let him throw hands.
Glad you guys found a way to let that man throw hands. Apparently, I remember when Mortal Kombat came out, they were like, he's literally so fast that he had to slow down for them to film.
I love that. It's going to be a fun time. I can't wait.
That's all we got for you guys today.
That is our news. We did it. Thank you so much for coming through. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you. As always, Crown Digital, Brandon, and Io, thank you for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Demi, thank you for editing, putting us on YouTube, being the other half of the podcast today because we can't count on the other two.
Somebody's got to do it.
In depth with me on The Flash. We are the big old DC nerds of the podcast.
We are.
Yes.
If anybody's going to review this movie, it should be us.
Exactly. And thank you for coming through for Elemental. Yeah.
I had a great time.
We love some wholesome family entertainment.
Surprisingly great time, to be honest.
But yeah, audience, what'd you think of Elemental? What'd you think of The Flash? You think it's a fun time? Did you not watch it? I respect that if you didn't. You may have your reasons. Maybe you just didn't want to. It's up to you. It's in the past now. It doesn't really matter. Let us know in the comments or hit us on Twitter at y'all_different, Instagram and Tumblr at Creative Differences Podcast, Facebook.com/Creative Differences PC, or TikTok at Creative Differences Pod. If you want to talk to me about the various versions of DC characters, especially the animated ones, find me on Twitter and Instagram at A King Named Simba.
Come talk to me about First Kill, or come campaign with me for Sasha Kaye to continue playing Supergirl in the new DCU. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dreamy Films. Dreamy is spelled DREEMI. Thanks again for joining us. Once again, happy Pride Month. I will continue to remind you until this month is over. Tune in next time. We think we might be doing a review for The Blackening and Asteroid City, but fingers crossed. We'll see what happens.
So I hope we do, because the juxtaposition of a Wes Anderson movie and a movie called The Blackening would be so funny. But yes, if you want to find Gabby, she's on Twitter at IFlashMyFriends, and Colin's on Twitter at Serial Flasher.
That's
yes, Colin, I know you would hate that, but should have been here.
He'd have to listen to it to find out.
Exactly, he's never gonna hear it. All right, it's been different. Peace.
Bye.
All right, we are here. We are back for a super edition of the Splash Zone.
Oh, I'm horrified.
To me,
I'm the only one here.
Now that you've seen Kal-El and Kara in the DCEU, who gets a bigger splash out of you?
We're not doing
Superman or Supergirl?
We're not doing this today, man. I don't have an answer for that. I'll do the 5th.
That is fair. That is an acceptable answer. It is a disappointing one, but we will allow it.
Court of law.